The marketplace of Zeta Station buzzed with the usual chaos of 1,000 species bartering, arguing, and trading. Kanat wiped the dust from his 4 eyes as he stood beside his 2 younger brothers near the cargo bay entrance. Their scales, a dull blue-gray from malnutrition, caught the artificial sunlight filtering through the station's dome. "Another slow day," muttered Ren, the middle brother, his tail dragging on the metal floor. Kanat nodded, scanning the crowd for potential customers. Their mother worked triple shifts at the water purification plant, but it was never enough. The 3 brothers spent their days offering to carry bags and packages for traders, earning just enough credits to buy protein paste and keep their small quarters heated. That's when she arrived. The human woman walked through the marketplace like she owned the entire station. Her clothes were made of fabrics Kanat had only seen in holovids, shimmering materials that seemed to shift colors with each step. Her dark hair was pulled back in an elegant style, and her brown skin glowed with health that came from proper nutrition and medical care. But what struck Kanat most were her eyes, sharp, calculating, missing nothing. "You 3, she said, her voice cutting through the marketplace noise. "I need my purchases transported to Bay 47. Can you handle it?" Kanat straightened immediately. "Yes, ma'am. We're very reliable." She gestured to a massive pile of cargo containers behind her, at least 20 boxes of varying sizes. Kanat's heart sank. That was far more than the 3 of them could manage in one trip. The woman, who introduced herself as Bella, seemed to read his hesitation. "I'll pay you 50 credits each. But I need it done in one trip, and I need it done carefully. Some of these contain delicate equipment. 50 credits each. That was more than they usually made in a week." Kanat looked at his brothers and saw the same desperate hope in their eyes. "We'll do it, ma'am," Kanat said firmly. What followed was 2 hours of the hardest work Kanat had ever done. The boxes were heavy, some requiring all 3 brothers to lift together. They made an anti-grav cart work despite its faulty repulsors, stacking boxes with precision to prevent any from falling. Bella walked alongside them, occasionally offering directions but mostly watching with those keen eyes. When they finally reached Bay 47, Kanat expected her to simply transfer the credits and dismiss them. Instead, Bella surveyed their work, ran her hand along each container checking for damage, and then did something unexpected. She pulled out a data pad and began asking questions. "How old are you 3? "I'm 16 standard years," Kanat replied cautiously. "Ren is 14 and Jax is 12. "School?" Kanat's scales flushed darker with embarrassment. We can't afford the enrollment fees, ma'am." Bella nodded slowly, making notes on her data pad. "Your mother?" "She works at the water plant. Triple shifts. And your father died in a mining accident 3 years ago. The company said it was his fault. We received no compensation." More notes. Then Bella looked up and Kanat saw something in her expression he couldn't quite identify. "Do you know what humans are known for in the galactic community?" she asked. Kanat shook his head. "Stubbornness, and an annoying habit of remembering faces." She transferred not 50 but 200 credits to each of their accounts. "I'll see you 3 tomorrow. Same time, same place." The brothers stood in shock as she walked away. The next morning, their mother, Sarah, was preparing for another grueling shift when her personal comm device chimed. It was a message from the station's administration office, marked urgent. Her hands trembled as she read it. Then read it again. By the time Kanat and his brothers returned from the marketplace, where Bella had given them another job and another generous payment, they found their mother sitting at their small table, tears streaming down her face. "Mother." Kanat rushed forward. "What's wrong?" Sarah held up the data pad, her voice breaking. "I've been transferred to a management position at 3 times my current salary, with full medical benefits and housing allowance." "But how? There's more?" Sarah scrolled down. "There's a scholarship fund. Full enrollment for all 3 of you at the station's academy. Tuition, materials, everything. From an anonymous human benefactor." Kanat's mind raced back to yesterday, to Bella's questions, her data pad, those calculating eyes. "And there's this," Sarah continued, her voice barely a whisper. She showed them a personal message. "Your sons worked harder in 2 hours than most species would in 2 days. Humanity doesn't forget those who refuse to give up. Consider this an investment in the future." "Yes." Kanat felt his scales flush with emotion. He'd heard stories about humans, their wars, their stubbornness, their strange attachment to concepts like fairness and potential. But this was the first time he'd understood what those stories really meant. Humans didn't just survive. They didn't just conquer. They remembered. And when they saw others fighting to survive, fighting with dignity despite impossible odds, they acted. "What did you do?" his mother asked, looking at her 3 sons with wonder. "We just carried some bags, Mother," Kanat replied, though he knew it was more than that. It always was with humans. Weeks later, Kanat saw Bella one last time at the marketplace. He approached her, his scales now bright with proper nutrition, wearing his new academy uniform. "Thank you," he said simply. Bella smiled. "Thank yourself. You did the work. You impressed me. All I did was open a door." She paused. Humanity has a saying, "Hard work should be rewarded, not exploited." The galaxy hasn't quite figured that out yet, but we're working on it. As she walked away, Kanat understood something fundamental about humans. They weren't the strongest species or the smartest or the most advanced. But they were the ones who looked at 3 struggling alien boys and saw not cheap labor, but potential. That, more than any weapon or technology, was why humanity had earned its place among the stars, and why Kanat suspected they would never lose it.